everything's working well, but in the meantime, I want to thank our staff. Grant back over here off camera is making sure that this whole system is working correctly, and we appreciate the work that goes into that. By way of introduction, Angie or Lynn, did you want to add anything?
No.
No, thank you. We're just excited to be a part of this conversation.
I'm really glad to have as many people already logging on as are here. Super excited that we're getting some voices out there.
Yeah. It's fun. I see one person who's actually, her face is on there. Oh, back up. Oh, there's Scotty. Scotty. And there's my favorite, Roseanne. Hi. Favorite rumor. Who said squirrel say hi? And it looks like we have probably 30 or 40 people already logged on here. I want to give apologies to Governor Lee's office. We scheduled ours first, so he's crashing our party with his live announcement, but this is reportable, and I'm sure we'll all be watching it later. In fact, our city administrator is watching both of these at the same time, and we'll text him with anything breaking news from the governor's office that's made to our conversation. But again, our hopes after we give you some updates is that you'll tell us how you're doing. We want to know how this is affecting your business and your employees, and we'll take that information upstream to our legislative partners. I'll mention this now, but I'll tell you again later on. I was part of a conversation with Congressman Heck and about 20 mayors in the South Sound just this morning, and the congressman was able to give some very valuable information on how we government, both unemployment and small business support over the next coming weeks. So we'll get on that again later. And since I do see some faces out there, I just want to ask, how is it coming across? Give me a thumbs up or whatever. I see Gary and Roseanne. Thumbs up. Scotty, can you hear us okay?
I'm having a really hard time hearing you guys from the phone.
Then, with everybody going on so well, I'm just going to go ahead and do my prepared notes, and then we'll be looking for comments as they come in. So we all know that in the state of Washington, cities make the state strong. And it's our people who make our city strong. And healthy people do that more effectively than people who are sick or unable to work. So we need to review then why we're in such a predicament. I'll bore you with a little bit of virology for just a moment. So this COVID-19 virus did something that viruses don't do very often. The viruses typically stay in their host animal. So, bats have a particular kind of virus, and birds have a particular kind of virus, and humans play host to some viruses like the common cold virus. This particular virus did a hat trick, which those of you who play soccer know that's getting 3 scores by one individual. This virus was able to jump from an animal host into a human host, and then was able to easily transmit from human to human. And that's the real tough part. We haven't had one do it this effectively pretty much since 1918 when we had the Spanish flu go around the world in about 18 months and kill 20 to 40 million people. It's bad in that it can do that. The thing is, our immune systems can't really handle a new virus it doesn't understand. It can handle the cold virus pretty well, but when a new virus like this comes in, it doesn't even understand it, and when it does recognize it finally, it overreacts, and that's what tends to kill people, is this overwhelming immune system response fills their lungs with fluid, and they get pneumonias, and then their kidneys crash, and that's why people can die suddenly, and why older people and less healthy people are more susceptible to this particular phenomenon. Yes, please do.
If your mic is not muted, please do so that we can get
very good. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. So, why is it important to do these things that what the governor has asked us to do? Why should we shelter in place? Why should we shut down our businesses? Well, the way these viruses work, it's exponential. So one person infects 5 people. Those 5 people infect 5 people. Those 25 people infect 125 people, who infect 625, and 15 days later, if transmission is in 3 days, you have over 3,000 people infected with the virus. Now, take that out from one restaurant with 50 people in it in a day, could have 3,000 people affected with this virus within just 2 weeks. We can stop that by taking the human-to-human transmission out of the equation. If I can't give it to you because you're 6 feet away from me and I'm covering my cough, you're not going to get affected by me, and so forth. So we removed that from the element. There was a great thing going around on the internet that showed a bunch of matches in close proximity to one another. And they lit one match, which lit the second and the third and the fourth match in line. And then they just pulled one match out of that line. And guess what happened?
Stopped.
The ignition stopped. That's what we're trying to do by these rather severe measures. Social distancing, proper hygiene, making sure that we're well, this is a thermometer, and staying away from sick people. Somebody said, hey, I don't think it's happening here because I don't see a lot of sick people. That's what they said in Italy, and that's what they said in New York. And then suddenly, the sick people showed up and cross-infected, and they ended up with a pandemic. We don't want that to come to Yelm or Thurston County or the state of Washington, so that's why we're taking these measures. Okay, all that said, how does this affect Yelm? Well, businesses are going to suffer losses. Employees aren't going to lose wages. Those families are going to suffer. They're going to suffer economically, and they're going to suffer in stress. Students are going to fall behind, and it's going to take a while. We don't know if the schools can reopen this year. It's not our decision. It's the Yelm Community School Board's decision and the Office of Public Instruction. But we know that the students are going to suffer in their ability to learn, and it's going to set us back. What can we do? Well, we can stay healthy, and we can support our local businesses as best we can. And perhaps Angie or Lynn could talk to us a little bit about how you could support your local businesses.
Go ahead, talk about Yelm to Go.
Absolutely. I actually have a small list of things that we can be doing as community members right now to help our local businesses who are certainly hurting right now. One of the things that we launched right away as soon as the governor put down the mandate that restaurants were closing, we launched a Facebook page called Yelm to Go. If you haven't been on it yet, please take a moment and jump on, like it, take a look at all of the albums that we have of all of the restaurants here in town that are offering curbside takeout and delivery services. I am still collecting those menus, so if there's a favorite that's not on there yet, let me know and I'll make sure that we get that up there right away. But it really is a one-stop shop so that you have their services, their menus, their numbers, and then hopefully as people start using it more, we start posting some pictures of their favorites and specials that they have. We would really like to see that. I have a list of 8 things that you can do today, right now, if you want to support small businesses here in town. And I'll give you just a brief overview. Stay tuned. We're working on that'll go up on our website here either today or tomorrow, so I'm going to keep it really brief. Buy online if you have favorite stores that still have their online presence. Shop there, grab takeout, share your favorites on social media, use your credit card instead of cash. It goes through a lot less hands most of the time, usually. Grab a gift card, practice your social distancing, practice patience, and be ready to support those businesses when we get the all clear to start shopping again and start being social again.
I gotta emphasize patience more than enough. We are all in this together. We're gonna survive, and we're gonna get through this no matter what we're faced with. So it's so great to have everybody on the same page and working together through this. So be patient. Our leaders are doing everything they can.
And one of the things we're trying to do is speak loudly enough for everybody to hear. I'm seeing some of the comments are that, especially if you've dialed in by phone, you're having a hard time hearing us. Maybe someone could put these mics on a chair that would lift them up. Would that help at all, Grant? He says no. So we will try to use our outside voices inside and then enunciate to get our points across. So very good points taken. I've talked to people within the business community and the faith community and the schools, and the number one thing people are appreciating is that person-to-person contact. I know it's a balance. You need to have the person-to-person contact 6 feet away. But if we can look out for one another right now and call the elderly folks in our neighborhoods, see if there's something we could do. I know, for example, Safeway has created special hours, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, specifically for elderly, pregnant, or immunocompromised people to do their shopping in a safer environment. Others will be excluded from the store at that time. That's a great way to help each other through this time. But maybe do the shopping for somebody who would otherwise be putting themselves at risk if they go out, is one idea. The number one thing that I can say about an individual who has lost their job because of the shutdowns is go to the Employment Security Department site and start the process of filing for unemployment. If you're a small business and you can see the dark cloud of what this is going to do to your bottom line, go to the Small Business Administration website and look for the opportunity to apply for grants and the coming loans that will be provided through their office. If you go to yelmwa.gov, that's the City of Yelm's website, you're going to find a recently posted list of resources that you can go to. Basically, we've asked every question we could think of how this is going to affect people, and we've provided a link for you to go to that can get you some of the answers that you need. But filing for unemployment is going to be really key to you maintaining a revenue stream through this emergency. And to that note, our communication with Congressman Heck this morning, he outlined what the federal government has already done. They've already passed one bill that is going to put $8.3 billion, that's with a B, into improving the strength of the unemployment services. That's number one. It's already been passed. It's already going. So that's why going for unemployment benefits is your best bet. They're going to relax the rules a little bit, make it easier for you to get unemployment. Secondly, they're going to put another, where's my number? $110 billion into stabilization programs for small to moderate-sized businesses. They are not exactly done with this. They're still in discussion, but it's been supported on both sides of the aisle, and what they want to do is support the smaller businesses. They know that putting $1 in the pocket of an employee is spent within that community, and keeping businesses from folding keeps the local economy going. So that's where the Congress has put their first two punches. $8.3 billion into unemployment, what did I say? I just read it. $110 billion into stabilizing the economy. And then they're still looking at a much, much larger, longer term stabilization fund of $800 billion that would probably go toward infrastructure building so that communities can start to build their roads and bridges and things back up, as we've done in the past successfully in the United States with our building program. So that's what Congress is doing for us today in the other Washington. So City of Yelm website, yelmwa.gov, and also on our Facebook page. And these are the things that we know right now, and the things that are going on right now. I'm sure Governor Inslee is going to have more information for us, but what we'd really like to know now, some personal stories from you, some concerns. How is this affecting your business? What concerns do you have that we can take up the chain of communication and get answers for you? I'm looking for comments, and some of them are amusing. Thank you, Scotty. But Let me see if I can read that one from Matt.
Ted Tatum.
It's a state.
Ted Tatum's, how long do you anticipate this closure of businesses to last?
Ted, that's a really good question. We know that this first round is for 2 weeks. We know that the schools are closed for 6 weeks. Unless the governor changes things, I believe what they'll do is extend the closure of businesses for another 2 weeks. And this is not coming from information that was given to me by the government. I'm just seeing this as a natural progression of what they've done so far. What they need to see is a dramatic slowdown in the spread of this disease. If they see that, then they'll feel more comfortable on relaxing the rules, and it would come back up and say, well, maybe it's okay now that we open back up the smaller businesses like the barber shops and places that don't typically have 10 people or more congregating in them. I would see that happening somewhere between week 2 and week 4, but areas that have more communicable disease transmission potential, like restaurants and bars, will probably stay closed longer than the 2 weeks. That's my guess on this. Anybody else want to tag in on that?
I would hate to speculate.
I know, I hate to speculate.
I couldn't even begin to state.
Okay, so that's the best I can answer that, Ted, right now.
What's the number they're looking for?
Josh, I don't understand your question, the number they are looking for.
Scotty has a great comment on there, that they're taking this time not to call for business, but just to check on their clients, and that's always a good, good thing to do to your clients. It makes them know you care and you're not just after them for money. So that's definitely a good suggestion there.
And Josh, again, I don't know what metric is being used by the governor's office to make this declaration or to lift it. He's going on the best advice he's getting from the Centers for Disease Control and the Health Department. Because we've not done this for 100 years, it's really hard for us to say what's going to work and what's not going to work. It's better to overreact and say later on, maybe this was an overreaction, than for us to get behind the curve and have hundreds of people die while we're trying to catch up. In Italy, they got behind the curve and they have so far lost 3,000 people, and I haven't checked the numbers today, so it's probably more. We only have 50 deaths in Washington so far from this, but over a very short period of time. We'd love to hold that down, and so we'll take the hit for being overreactive right now, and then relax them as we see that number start to slide down the other side.
We've got a question from Shane there.
Okay, yep.
Am I allowed to be open as a portrait photography studio for now? Because I'm getting mixed messages. And the next one from Angela kind of states the same thing. Since we are currently open, can we remain open, or are they planning on shutting us all down? Those are kind of similar questions.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. So as I did some questions myself on this, the guidelines were fairly loose and yet somewhat specific on certain kinds of businesses. But it's the effect that they're looking for, folks. Look at your business situation and see if you're covering this basic concept. We don't want people congregating in a small place for a long period of time. So if you're going to walk into Tractor Supply and buy a chain and some oil and fuel for your chainsaw, you're in and out. Use good hygiene. Make sure you're washing your hands after you touch the surfaces and stuff. And you're fine. That's a good business model.
Although you meant J&I Saw Shop.
What did I say?
Tractor Supply.
I said J&I Tractor Supply?
No.
Sorry about that. I love them both. I love Tractor Supply and I love J&I Power Equipment. And I went into about 30 businesses yesterday, and we had those discussions. You walk in, there's 2 or 3 people, nicely spaced, nobody's coughing, everybody should be good. It's okay for us to be a little bit more aggressive when we're asking people to cover up. A friend of mine coughed into his hand and then went to shake my hand just yesterday. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry.
It's not the world we're living in.
And because it's so hard a habit to break, help each other break that habit. If you're sick, don't go into those places. And if your employee is sick, please do the right thing and ask them to stay home. I know, there you go again, they lose their wages if they have to stay home. If at some point they can apply for unemployment, that's how we're going to help each individual. But we as a group have to stop the spread. And so you do that by looking at your business model and say, am I following those basic precepts of isolation and hygiene?
And Denise had that very question about unemployment for part-time employees.
And I don't see the question.
She's wanting to know if anybody has had any experience or feedback from their part-time employees that have already applied, whether they were able to be given unemployment or what their response was that they were getting from the actual unemployment agency. So does anybody out there have any experience or feedback from your staff that you could share with us as far as the feedback that they have been receiving from unemployment?
So if you go to the Employment Security Department's website, they have this rather interesting chart. I don't know if you can see this very well on the camera, but go to esd.gov, and it has a list of scenarios and then what unemployment presently covers. And we expect to see that becoming even looser. So, and specifically it says, right now, employer shuts down due to a business slowdown or a quarantine. Unemployment insurance under current law would already give them unemployment. So they've already thought about a lot of this stuff and have covered it. But I don't know anybody who's presently applied for unemployment at this time and has received it. We're all too new to this.
Okay.
That's a good question from Daniel Crow.
Yeah, Dan Crow says, if the city declared a state of emergency, would that allow us to tap into any additional federal funds or grants? How do we get relief to local small businesses?
So Dan, the reason I didn't do a declaration of emergency in the first place is because no, it doesn't give us anything right now. It just sort of seemed like the thing to do, but it wasn't. There are no state or federal funds available to me right now, nor is there anything for me to spend the money on. We don't have any programs to fund through that process. So creating an emergency declaration does nothing. I thought it was actually an overstep of the mayor's office to do that. If we do have an opportunity that comes up to apply for that money, if we find a program we can spend money on, declaring an emergency that would make it available to us is a very simple act and it's effective immediately. So we'll hold that tool in our toolbox, but we don't need to deploy it just now. Hi, Isabel.
Hi, Isabel. Lynn will get that fixed up for the Yelm to Go page.
Isabella, if you
Okay.
message the Yelm to Go page directly, I can see it from there and I can take a look at that.
Okay, if I do what?
Can I get the unemployment link? I don't see it. So, Michael, the question is, Shane can't see the unemployment link on the Yelm.gov website. Do we have that on there?
We'll post a link to that immediately.
Yeah, it's esd.wa.gov.
esd.wa.gov.
Any other questions? Sorry, Angie.
A couple other comments on there was that the NBN, in case you don't know, that there's doing some additional pushes for the small businesses to kind of spotlight them and do a little bit of editorial content in regards to the business. So if you go to yelmonline.com, you can do your submissions and find out the guidelines to be considered for that. So that's a good resource for businesses to continue to market, because this is the time, as much as businesses don't think they can afford it, this is the time you want to continue to reach out and market yourselves. Kind of in the way that Scotty had mentioned that he's doing, by just touching your customers without asking for a sale, but just reminding them you're there. So the NBN is a great resource to help with that.
And I know, Rosina, you had said, you are lucky enough to still be working. How can you pay it forward? Keep an eye out. I'll throw up that list of, I think it was eight things you can do right now to help those businesses who are suffering on our website, and I'm sure the cities as well.
And Rosina, Moose and Squirrel just texted me and said I've been saying your name wrong. My apologies.
You're
I
fine.
do understand, Lori's saying one of our employees has already started the process for unemployment. They do require the employer to provide a predicted rehire date. They should be able to get benefits for 4 weeks at a time without having to look for other work if she has not returned to work at that time. So that's a good update on that.
Okay, any more up there? Okay.
JW, would you like to remind everyone the water bill policy that Molly is?
Thank you, Molly. Presently, because we understand this is going to affect families differently, we will still be sending out the bills for your utilities. We will also be sending out the bills for first quarter business and occupation tax to our local businesses. Please pay them if you can. Yelm community or Yelm city services cannot continue if we don't have a reliable revenue stream. So do what you can to stay up on your bills, please. Applying for unemployment, applying for small business loans or grants is going to be helpful to you in that regard. We will continue to accrue your bills. We will not shut anybody's water off, and we will work with individuals at a later time when they get their revenue stream back to help them pay off their bill in a contractual fashion. The city council actually has to take action on that to allow the city to do that, but we're fully capable of doing that with the simple ordinance change. So
And that's scheduled for next week.
and that is scheduled for the next city council meeting. So, please pay your bill if you can, but don't worry about your water being shut off if you can't. We're going to work with you to get everybody through this.
JW, does that include commercial water accounts as well as residential?
It does.
Thank you.
And in fact, we already have the ordinance on the book to work with commercial. We hadn't had this for residential, so
Perfect.
we're going to move in that direction.
The next question is there going to be any late payment charges?
No late payment charges, no interest accrued. This will be a case-by-case basis, of course, and you will have some tough decisions to make. I understand that. If your revenue stream is severely impacted, you still have a lot of bills you have to pay. You've got your energy bill, your telephone, your cable, and we know you're going to need your cable more than ever with the kids home from school. So we're going to, hope that you can feed your family, stay warm, stay sheltered, and then work in a priority fashion on paying the rest of your bills. Unemployment will be bolstered to help you with that, and small businesses will see relief coming from the federal and state government. We've had commitment from our regional legislative partners, J.T. Wilcox, Andrew Barkas, Randy Becker have all reached out to us and said they are going to do everything they can to support these efforts to making families whole. So there's a lot of people working to help us through this.
A question from Angela Clooney, Balanced. Is anyone looking into what we are doing with the landlords for all the small businesses that are in the city limits that may have to shut down? With the actual landlords here within Yelm is what I'm.
Say that again. Where is it? Which one is it?
Angela Clooney, Balanced. Is anyone looking into what we are doing with the landlords for all the small businesses that are in the city limits that have to shut down?
So, very interesting question, and I've heard some comments out there about how we should make a moratorium against evictions, and that we should ask landlords to, not collect rent for a month or whatever. And we don't have the authority as a city government to do that, and individual landlords would have to make that decision. That may be their source of income that they use to pay their bills. So nobody's going to want to evict anybody. That's for sure, but everybody still has to find ways to pay their bills. If you have a mortgage and you're afraid that your tenant can't pay that rent, I would get to your financial institution right away and ask them what programs they're going to put in place to provide some relief for you. They may find it, the ability to delay your payments and that sort of thing. But that's going to be between you and your financial institution, and the city has no authority to mandate any of those actions.
Do you know of any truth to a mandatory shelter that is coming?
Mandatory shelter, well, the governor just said that if you're 60 or above, you should be sheltering in place right now to prevent to reduce your susceptibility to the spread of this virus, which makes it rather challenging when I'm closing in on that age. Okay, I'm on the other side of that. So, yeah, that's a real tough one for me and for a lot of us right now who are in that young 60s age group. Certainly if you are 60 and above and you have other conditions that would make you more vulnerable, like you smoke, which causes disruption of the lining of your lung, which makes you more susceptible to the attachment of this particular virus. It likes to attach itself to scarred lungs. Smokers are at a much higher level of risk than non-smokers. Or if you have emphysema or chronic bronchitis, or you just get sick easy and you're over 60, you should definitely be hunkering down with your favorite collection of movies or books and minimize your exposure to the public. But there's no mandatory rule in place that I know of coming, just an advisement. I have some staff here, and I also have Eric Rosane from the Nisqually Valley News. Feel free to jump in, staff, or Eric, if you have any other comments or suggestions.
Does anybody out there have any additional questions or comments? Are we following suit from Olympia and closing the parks?
No.
No, we are not closing the parks.
We went over that this morning. There's one of those balancing things. I drove by the park this morning, City Park, and there were about 20 families out there, and I noticed they were practicing their own form of social distancing. I had already made a point of this in some Facebook posting, and we also had our Public Works Department put signage out by the playground equipment that says, play at your own risk. We do not have the ability to decontaminate these surfaces. So you have to be very cautious about this. Taking your kid to the park and having kick the ball around is probably a great idea. Having them clamber all over the playground equipment with unknown contagious elements on it, probably not the better decision. But we're not going to close the parks. It would be impossible for us to enforce that with our smaller police department as it is.
Angela, I think we echo your sentiment. You know, you say that you're worried about the safety of your employees while you remain open. That's at the top of all of our minds too, is, you know, the safety and security of everyone in our community. So we definitely feel you on that.
Yeah, and again, you have to make that decision based on your business model. If when we decided to close the front door to City Hall, for example, we kept it open for several days and we're encouraging people to do online payments and that sort of thing. But when two of our employees identified themselves as being more susceptible than general population, we made the decision to close the front door to limit the exposure to those employees. We can still get a lot of our work done. Our employees are still here doing work by phone, by internet, and some internal work, but we have made that business decision to limit the exposure of our employees, and I think each business has to make that decision on their own. I see a message from Andrew Kohler, spokesperson from Yelm Community Schools, and they say that at this point they are planning, if I'm reading that correctly, Andrew, they are planning to reopen normal operations for the Yelm Community School District on April 27th. Of course, that plan may change based on the things that we talked about earlier on how we see the numbers spreading or slowing down. I see some of the businesses are saying that they are doing their business by appointment only, and that's another good opportunity. Same thing here. If you're a small business or you want to do if you want to put in a building permit, for example, you call in, you make an appointment, and we will open the doors for you and meet in a very nicely ventilated part of the building with our team for you to process your building permits and get on board with your project.
And we're doing the same. If you have concerns about your business and you want to come and chat with us, give me a call, shoot us a message on Facebook, email me, send us smoke signal, carrier pigeon. I'm accepting all forms of communication, and I'm happy to chat with you on ways that we can help you right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Support the chamber. Karen, thank you for that question. So Karen asked how we support the chamber during this time. I really feel like you can support the chamber by supporting your chamber, your fellow chamber members, and the other small businesses here in town. That's kind of our front line right now is just looking at our small businesses, and trying to keep them as healthy as we can.
Absolutely. That's the key in this, is reminding us that we're all still in this together.
Amber says shop local. I agree.
I had talked to somebody yesterday who has vowed to eat out every night at a local restaurant until this is over.
Yeah, that was me.
I had somebody else besides you. So
Yeah,
that's great. I mean, I think that's an outstanding gesture.
I have vowed to gain 10 pounds in the next 2 weeks by eating out at least once a day at one of our local restaurants. Many of them, most of them are open, and one of our friends down at Mariachi said his problem is he'd already pre-cooked a lot of food in preparation for the week, and it's just going to go to waste. So go there and buy them. I'm sure he's going to give you a good deal. Right, Carlos? Hope so. And one person, this is an important corollary to this. One person on a Facebook comment said, well, I don't know how much I can trust this food business to be hygienic in the preparation and delivery of my food to the curbside or whatever. What if their employee is sick and that sort of thing? That's a legitimate concern and something that you have to keep in mind when you're making that decision if you're going to do takeout or not. But as a business owner who serves food, they are very cognizant of the result of making somebody sick from foodborne illnesses. They are very good at what they do. I had somebody, the gal at the Safeway deli counter the other day, I bought a breakfast sandwich from her, and she put it down in the foil, and we exchanged money, but before she would hand it to me, she put another glove on, just to demonstrate to me that she was being safe with that. I appreciated that overprotectiveness.
Yeah, the extra caution is comforting.
Yeah.
Because it's unprecedented times. We don't know what to expect. We don't know where the exchange could happen.
And a lot of you have
That's
a
great.
giant pile of potatoes in your kitchen right now that you bought out at the store. You are going to get tired of eating potatoes pretty soon, and pasta and frozen dinners, and you're going to want to frequent the takeout. So think about that in your plan over the next couple of weeks.
We have incredible restaurants.
Yes, we
Lynn,
do.
there's a question for you, I think, from Karen.
Karen, that's a great idea. I'll work on that and have that up tomorrow. George also shared a list of resources from the EDC. Thank you, George.
There's a link.
Let's make
There's a
sure.
link to that from the city page as well.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, we're catching up on.
One of the local restaurant business reader board just changed to keep calm and eat takeout. So.
Lots of good comments. 10% off of different businesses in the area, which is great. Grow Law, I think Sheer Perfection said that.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are using this as a portal to share information with each other. We appreciate that.
You have Prolaw's offering a discount. Southfield RV sales, Yelm is open 7 days a week now. They just came to town. Welcome,
Ted, we're
Ted.
so glad that you're here.
Thank you for filling that empty space so quickly.
Good to
Appreciate
see
that. Good business. Now, Ted, if you go down to Mariachi and have them make you up a whole bunch of burritos, and then bring them out and give them away at your RV sales, just an idea.
There you go, great idea.
Picking outside of the takeout bag.
Ted thinks that's a great idea too, don't we?
All right,
Yeah,
well,
there we go.
I'm an idea guy.
Good. Any other questions out there?
Scotty, you don't have to raise your hand.
I was gonna say that Scotty just raised his hand, but.
We can't.
I think he's reaching.
Can we expect the sign police to relax the rules temporarily? JW, will the sign ordinance be changing temporarily so restaurants and other businesses can put out directional signs and other communications?
Sign ordinance?
No, I'm
What
talking about
sign,
signs.
what sign ordinance?
I apologize, sir.
No, that's a great question. I'll talk to our sign guy in the Community Services Department, and we'll see what we can do to temporarily relax the rules. If you are going to put out a sandwich board, great name for those,
At this time, yeah.
just make sure that it's not blocking the sidewalks so people can get by on foot and in wheelchairs and so forth for right now. Someone said, this is not all bad, it got me out of jury duty. Well, I'm glad to see that people see the silver linings to the situation.
Kim, it's good to see you.
I can't.
How else can the businesses help? Can you?
I think you kind of already touched on that with continuing to shop local, eat out whenever possible, and buy gift cards. Support, just try to get creative in ways that you can support the local businesses and the local chamber members.
If you think of something later, please message me on the City of Yelm webpage, or you can do a direct message to the mayor or to City Council. You can talk to Lynn on their Facebook page or website, right? Leave comments on the website too.
Yeah.
These are the kinds of ideas we need, and if you have an idea of how the state or federal government could best help your business get through the short to moderate term where you don't have business but you need to pay your rent, you need to pay your utilities, what that would look like to you, what would work best for you, that's the message we can send upstream so that they can craft their programs to help support you.
Laura needs to make JW a new name tag.
It's a great name tag.
That's right.
Joshua with PTL's Floor says wood flooring is antibacterial.
I did not know that.
I didn't either. I'm ready.
Thank you,
You
Josh.
call me.
Yes, I love Share Perfection. This is helping connection, helping community, and creativity. So that's
Yes.
great.
Thanks, Rosina. That's what we're here for.
Hold on.
Stop typing.
Rotary is wanting to do a spring break food supply, but they're worried that they won't have enough food to dispense. So maybe can we do a food drive?
So Andrew says if you're interested in helping, to email him. I know that that's a way that businesses, if you're not struggling, it would be a good way to help the community.
So currently, the Yelm Community Schools they're using their kitchens to deliver bag lunches to the school, all the schools, and I don't know the timing of those, but if you go to the Yelm Community School site, they'll have a schedule of when the buses will come out to your school near you to provide meals. The issue that we've had with the Rotary, we do a summer feeding program to pick up for the bags for students program. We haven't achieved our funding for the year yet, so we're not able to make the purchases that we need to support that program. If one was interested in that, donations of basically of money, folks, really, because we have specific items we buy, and some of our suppliers give them to us at a great discount, and then we can put the bags together, and we could take over or supplant what the community schools are doing with that program. But so we need finances for that, donated to the Rotary Club of Yelm, and in particular, we need the bags, the reusable shopping bags that we fill to hand out to kids. And then we'll go through our usual distribution once a week at the usual places like the middle school, the Pines, Clearwood, and places like that. So we could use your donations for that. That's another way to help.
Great.
Test Fawn from Timberland Bank has some information available for you for Small Business Association loans. There's 3-month and 6-month deferrals, but you have to talk to her more about that.
Or go straight.
I think that was to answer Dan's question about that.
It was.
Good. I love this community and helping each other.
Yeah. And
I guess the high school is sending out sack lunches via bus?
yeah, so I just covered that. They're going out to all the schools.
Oh, to the schools.
Unless Scotty's saying there's something else new, but I don't know about that program. So we're seeing a suggestion for the chamber to set up a micro loan program. That's something the chamber board can talk about, but
We'll certainly take that back to the office.
and one of the things that any good idea like that takes is funding, but it could be the monies that we're going to get from the federal relief that could support microloan. They just need to channel it through somebody. So it's not that, just because we don't have the money yet doesn't mean we couldn't think about starting the program. Thank you for covering, Jennifer.
Great idea.
I saw that. Incoming text message. And once again, if you would go to the yelmwa.gov website or the Chamber of Commerce site and share the information on your Facebook pages or through your social media so that people have that list of resources. It's a fairly complete list of resources at this time, and we'll update it as more resources come in. So a good way to get good information out there. And I do want to reiterate one thing. There are still some sources of disinformation out there. Some of the news media, the television news media in particular, and some very strange Facebook and social media threads have erupted. Folks, this is not a hoax. This is not some diabolical plan to overthrow our government. This is a real thing that 100 years ago killed 20 to 40 million people in our world. We can't let that happen again. This is something that we can do something about. Please spread good information, real information, trusted information from us, from the Center for Disease Control, from the Thurston County Health Department, and try to keep calm through this crisis. We can do this together. We are Yelm.
We are in this together. Please make sure that your staff members are privy to the information on the city website and also that the chamber has available. Because some of the staff members are flailing worse than the business owners. They don't know where to go and they're not sure who to turn to but you. So make sure you provide that information for your staff as needed.
So I just got a new link up here. Andrew Kohler from the school said there's a new grab and go program. I think that's the one that Scotty was talking about. So we'll add that link. If you're good at writing these things down, it's www.ycs.wednet.edu/domain/1031. That's the link to the grab and go program so people can swing by the school and grab a sack lunch. Thank you, Andrew.
And Deb just put up a link there for the SBA business homeowners loans.
For businesses, homeowners, and renters.
Disasterloan.sba.gov. That would be for businesses, homeowners, and renters to go check out that availability. Okay. Anything else? Last minute thoughts?
Thank you all for coming together as a community. It's an amazing thing to see everyone rally around our businesses and come in as we do need to see this through.
I have a question.
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate what I've said, I guess, already a few times. We are in this together, and as long as we can continue to unite like this, we are going to make it through as a community, and our businesses and our constituents will all come out okay. I just feel like this kind of warms my heart to see how many people are involved here today and know that we have a strong bond, and it's what's going to get us through.
I have a question.
So Grant, I have a question for you. We've been able to see all these comments. Some people are on the phone only and can't. Will we be able to compile all this and put is it recorded? Can people tune in and look at it again?
God damn it.
We will have all the comments and the video posted to our YouTube channel hopefully before the end of the day.
So we could go to, and how does someone find the City of Yelm YouTube channel?
There's a direct link from our webpage.
From our webpage.
Or it's if you search for City of Yelm in YouTube.
Go to YouTubeville and search for City of Yelm.
Correct.
Okay, because there's only one City of Yelm.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
There's a question.
Oh, question by phone.
There is a.
I don't know how we get a question from phone.
On the phone. Who is it?
It was me. It's Brenda from Alive and Well Massage.
Vicky has something to say.
Oh,
Let's find Vicky.
okay. Grant is going to try to get that.
Oh,
Where do you see
is that, is it Vicky?
Anybody read this?
Right. Hold on.
Grant's trying to turn the audio back on. It's Brenda
And
is who wants to make the comment.
I just wanted to know how to get to the YouTube, but you answered it.
Gotta find Brenda.
she's right there in the middle.
In the middle. Brenda Suarez.
Yep.
Right in the book. We're gonna try to hear you, Brenda.
Okay, I just wanted to know how to get to the YouTube channel, but you answered the question.
Well, that might take longer than necessary. So sorry, Brenda, that we weren't able to get your phone comment. Folks, we're going to do this again at some point when we see that we have more information to share, particularly with the business community. We're going to be in constant contact with our state and federal partners. As we see the opportunity, we'll send out the message again. Please let us know how this went for you, if there's anything else that we could add to the conversation, and we'll try to put that all together. Last comments from Angie?
No, thank you for helping put this together.
Absolutely. Lynn?
No, Brenda, if you would like to message me your question, I can bring it back to JW here as well.
According to this late-breaking text message, she got her answer.
Oh, great.
Yes.
All right. I love this. Oh, excuse me. My Flippy is showing. It worked.
Hey, it
All right.
comes in.
Folks, we're going to call a close to the meeting now. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be part of our conversation. Good luck to all of us. We're going to do fine. All right?
Yes, thank you for
Thank you.
your support and we're
Happy
in this
spring.
together.
Go smell a daffodil. We're all still just looking at each other. Awkward.
It warms my extroverted heart.
We're just waiting for you to say stuff.
That was great.